Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday. It's November the 15th. The beginning of another week.
I'm pressing that coffee.
The coffee's making noises.
Ooh, that pot is warm. Oh, the crust is soft.
I'm excited for a cup of coffee. I haven't had my cup of coffee yet, so it's 6:25 in the morning. I'd prefer it in the cup, brother. I mean, it's nice if it's all over the table too, but I like it in the cup.
I like my coffee in a cup. Call me old-fashioned.
I'm partial to having my coffee in a mug, not on the floor. But that's just me.
Each to their own. We do not judge here, but if you drink coffee off the table,
I'll judge you. Fuck you. What's wrong with you, you window licker?
Aw.
Zamboni in the coffee off the countertop.
Thought I had a floaty in my coffee for a second.
Oh.
I don't.
That's just extra flavor.
That's right.
A little extra crunch.
We should be putting booze in here.
Yeah, but don't you have to go to work?
Yeah. People have been drinking and going to work for centuries.
Yeah. How do you think those peasants did it in France? I think those guys weren't just drunk off their asses like all day.
How do you think the Alberta oil field just keeps going?
That's a good point. Well, but they're not drunk on the job site per se. They're hungover. They get drunk immediately after leaving the job site.
That's right. Welcome.
Well,
It's November 15th. What happened in history?
Well, I'll tell you this. Now listen close. Some fun history facts for you folks.
Gather around, children. Gather around.
Gather around the fire here. Grandpa's going to tell you a little story. So, November 15th, 1315, Swiss soldiers ambush and slaughter invading Austrians in the Battle of Morgarten. In 1777, the Articles of Confederation, instituting perpetual union of the United States of America, are adopted by Congress. In 1805, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark and their party reached the mouth of the Columbia River, completing their trek to the Pacific. The Lewis and Clark expedition.
Right. I forgot about those gentlemen.
Yeah. Sacagawea was with them, I believe.
Yes, I think you're right.
She was a guide of sorts, translator.
Now, don't get Sacagawea mixed up with Pocahontas.
Well, I don't even know if Pocahontas is a real character or not.
Well, yeah, a real character in Disney.
Yeah, but I think it's false and made up.
Yeah.
Sacagawea was real though.
That movie Pocahontas was. What was that about?
The English show up. They get into some fist fights with the natives. The natives are pissed and are like, let's get these fuckers out. But then they all make peace. And then they neglect to mention that, like 60 years later, that native tribe in that area of New England get fucking slaughtered and expelled. But that's okay because it's a kid's show.
That's okay.
You don't really want to talk about the whole genocide thing. Kids, they're not quite ready for that.
No.
So.
It's a whole... we'll just worry about making a good film.
Yeah, it's a can of worms that kids don't really need to deal with. But you do see a lot of people on Twitter like screaming about that sometimes. Every once in a while, someone will be like, "Just watch Pocahontas. This is atrocious. This is like the most colonial bullshit." It's like, yeah, it's a kid show. Like, whatever.
Get over it.
Get over it. Also, still winning.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good way to. I mean, kids will watch the movie and be like, "Oh, the English, white people were never here to begin with."
And then they show it up.
But if you get that sort of base idea into a kid's mind, and then from there, if they actually want to understand what happened, they can, as they grow up, they can look it up. They can learn.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't just create a kids movie with the English genociding millions of fucking natives. You have to start them somewhere, for fuck's sakes. Like, Pocahontas is a good movie for that. The English come over, they get in a tussle with the natives.
I think
they make a little peace.
That one white guy, John Smith, gets shot
Yep.
or something. He gets stabbed.
Makes a good little film, and then from there.
And then the kid will be like, wow, that's interesting, but is that how that really happened? And then they start reading the history books and they go, oh.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Question everything.
Oh, no. Oh, they got fucked up. I was reading about some of the Iroquois Wars. Right. So the Iroquois Confederation they were quite a power in sort of the upstate New York region and into like, north of Lake Erie.
Right.
They were, quite the force. And they were always at odds with the French. Always. Mm-hmm. They fucking hated the French. Because the French wouldn't sell them guns. They're like, well, we like these rifles that you guys have. We want to buy more of them. They're like, no, we don't trust you. They're like, okay, well, we'll buy them from the Dutch then. The Dutch were happy to oblige. They're like, what's that? You want to shoot Frenchmen? So do we. Here you go.
Half price.
Yeah, half price. No, come on, they're Dutch. 1.5 price.
Yeah. They'll make you think you're buying it for half price, but really it's marked up 20%. Yeah. Sons of bitches.
Fuck.
I'm not racist, but the Dutch.
Fucking Dutch people. Good folks. So I got another couple facts here. Happened on November 15th.
All right.
The explorer. Now, brace yourself, because this guy's name is fantastic. The legendary explorer, Zebulon Pike.
From the planet Zebulon?
No, the man, Zebulon, discovers the Colorado peak that bears his name, Pike's Peak. Oh. Despite the fact he never climbed the fucking thing.
He just named it after himself.
Yeah, he probably looked at it and went, oh, that's mine. It's like, that doesn't count. You can't do that. You got to climb the bitch.
That's my mountain, bitch.
So that's the thing. Everyone can see mountains.
Yeah.
They're huge. You can just point at it and say, yeah, that's my mountain. That's cheap. That's fucking Zebulon. Zeb. Fuck you, Zeb.
Zeb Pike. What a bitch.
What kind of name is Zebulon?
What nationality was he?
I have no idea. I think he was English, but...
Zebulon.
I can quick pull that up.
Yeah, dude, what a strange name. Because, Zebulon, wasn't that from some sort of sci-fi show?
That sounds like it. Yeah, like some shitty B sci-fi movie. No, he's an American.
Oh.
Yep.
Born and raised in America.
Yep. In Lamington, Bedminster, New Jersey.
Oh, there you go.
Died in Upper Canada. Oh, I guess he was a royalist? Why was he in Canada? We don't fucking want him.
A bit of a explorer.
He's a bit of an explorer. Found Pikes Peak, I guess. He's also a brigadier general. What else did this fella do?
Oh, look at that nice peak. I'm gonna name it after myself.
Across the Rocky Mountains. Got captured by the Spanish near Santa Fe. And then he got sent to Chihuahua, Mexico for interrogation. Good for him. Oh, he was killed during the Battle of York. Oh, we killed him. Nice. Perfect. That's why he died in Upper Canada. That makes sense. Fucking prick. Get fucking yeeted, Zebulon.
Suck my dick, Zebulon.
In 1864, Union Major General William T. Sherman begins his burning the fuck out of the South. He sets fire to most of Atlanta's industrial district, and then begins his march to the sea.
And he fought for the North?
Yeah. Yeah, he burned the fuck out of the South. He was like, most generals from the North were like, kind of had an understanding that, these are Americans, and as shitty as this all is, I'm sure, we don't want to be too heavy-handed here, because if we do, we'll just cause all kinds of problems later down the road. Sherman didn't give a fuck. He's like, these bastards, they're leaving my union, these fucking pricks, and so he actually committed all kinds of war crimes.
Somebody had to do it.
It was pretty based. It's like, yeah, you know how we deal with acts of human rights violations? More human rights violations.
I always forget that America had a civil war. Well, not, I don't forget.
How do you forget?
I don't forget, but Americans are so proud to be Americans.
One time, those fuckers were killing each other by the thousands.
Oh, yeah.
I think just about 1 million people died in that war.
Oh, wow.
600,000 combatants. And, like, I don't know, untold amounts of people fucking starved. So.
Just keeping the population down.
Whoa. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Oh, and last history fact of the day, 1985, the Anglo-Irish Agreement was signed by British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. And the Irish, this is a Gaelic title, so I don't know how to say that, but I'm guessing it's Taoiseach Gary Fitzgerald.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like their president or some shit.
Meanwhile, Margaret Thatcher was funding paramilitary operations.
I'm sure. Well, I think that she was doing that before as well, but probably after.
Yes, we are united. Here's some cash. Here's some fucking money.
Car bomb them.
Send the car bomb.
Here, I'll get you the fertilizer and the diesel fuel. I'll even show you what part of the city block to park it on to kill the most Catholics.
Was she Irish?
Margaret Thatcher? No,
Yeah.
she's English.
Oh, okay. They would have never have let even in the 1980s.
They wouldn't have let an Irishman into Parliament.
Especially an Irish woman.
It's too much fire.
Yeah.
Britain ain't ready for that.
Exactly. They weren't ready for something like that during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always find it so strange how, like in America, you got this clear divide between white people and black people. Yet over in Britain, they're like, we need to divide something, so we'll pick the brown-haired white people and the red-headed white people.
Yeah. Well, it's not even that. There's plenty of red-headed Englishmen.
Exactly.
It's not even, there's no logical line in which it's drawn except for like the language barrier.
Yeah. And were Irish were Protestants?
No, Catholic.
They were Catholics.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
At least in North Ireland. Or, in North Ireland they were Protestant. In the rest of Ireland, it was a predominantly Catholic country. I wonder how they're doing these days. Probably like most countries, they have a trend of not giving a fuck.
Yeah, religion is starting to lose its hold.
It's oomph.
It's oomph.
Yeah. Ireland. I'd love to go to Ireland.
I think it'd be cool.
I think it'd be fun. Mostly I want to get drunk in like 1,000-year-old pubs, There's actually a pub in Dublin that I think it's one of the oldest, I think it's the oldest bar in Europe.
Yeah.
And the thing dates to like 500 AD or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Fucking place is ancient. And it's just called like Jeb's Place or something.
Ye old pub.
Yeah, no, it's like named after the guy who started the thing.
Nice.
Like fucking 2,000 years ago or some shit.
Jeb's Place. That's awesome.
There you go over there and that's just how it is.
So
There's tons of pubs like that.
Is it still his family running the place?
I have no idea. I didn't read that far, but I just saw a headline one time like oldest pub in Europe is in Dublin.
No, I wonder. That'd be cool. Like just generations and generations of Jeb just running this pub.
Generations of Irish women serving me beer.
Yes.
Got grandma bringing out cookies. I got ma bringing out my beer, and then the daughter. We got 3 generations of Irish women all coming out.
Hey, is weed legal in Britain?
I have no idea. Probably not.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Well, maybe they're going on the way, but I have not read anything about it.
Neither
I think it's
have I was just
decriminalized.
wondering. Yeah, probably. Legalize all drugs.
The rest of the world isn't quite as advanced as Canada is.
Yeah.
Okay. We're very forward thinking that way. Yeah, let's legalize this stuff. Yeah, we're geniuses.
Yeah.
Should we build a rocket program? Nah, fucking legalize weed. Should we maybe invest in our Air Force? Nah, legalize weed.
Legalize weed that's easy though. You just pass a little legislation.
Yeah.
And then let capitalism take over.
Well, you tell me this. It was legal before the government showed up. It was always legal.
Yeah, that's right. It was always legal before.
It was always legal before.
Till the paper mills.
Then they closed down the paper mill. Yep. So I was reading yesterday, an article about the country of Guyana.
What continent is that?
That's in South America.
Okay.
That's where Jonestown was.
Okay.
It's one of them little, well, they call them the Guyanas or something like that, but it's one of them little countries on the top end of like Brazil.
Yeah.
There's like 3 countries.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. And yeah, that's where Georgetown was. Good old Jim Jones.
Right.
Drink the Kool-Aid, all that shit. Well, it's the only English-speaking country in South America, and it's experiencing an oil boom right now. And I think it's partially because of Venezuela's rapid decline. So over last year, their GDP rose 43%.
Oh, wow.
And Canada's lucky to get like 1 or 2%. No, I think we're lucky to get 1%.
43%, that's volatile as fuck.
That's a ridiculous expansion of money.
Sure is.
And
it's not evenly distributed.
oh no, there's their minimum wage. Like most people are still working for $1 an hour down there.
Yeah.
Like it's not. It's it'll be problems, but they are experiencing an oil boom, and because it's a tiny little country of 800,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, that money conceivably will be shared a lot more evenly than it's, say, in Venezuela, which has like 30, 40 million people.
Right.
With like a few oil barons at the top.
Right.
But yeah, there's predictions. I think World Bank has a prediction that in 2 decades, if it sort of follows their predicted growth pattern, that Guyana could be potentially one of the richest countries in the Western Hemisphere on a per capita basis, just because they have so few people.
Right.
But they could potentially, pull a Norway.
Yeah.
Essentially, Norway, the reason why they can have all their fun social programs and all this shit, right, is that they have all this offshore oil that they sell to Great Britain.
Right.
That's how they pay for it. So they could do something like that, sell oil to the United States or Brazil or whoever, use that money to funnel social programs. And
always buyers for oil.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. It makes the world, it greases the world.
Mm-hmm.
So they could, feasibly use their oil revenue to invest in like their population, sort of pull it out of the poverty that it's in.
Right.
But potentially become one of the richest countries in this side of the world.
Right.
So.
Aren't they kind of restricted by their location, like they're being surrounded by other poor countries, like?
That doesn't restrict them in any way. Why would that restrict them? They're on the ocean.
Yeah,
their oil is offshore oil.
It's all offshore?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It just seems like those South American countries just never seem to get ahead.
Well, it's mostly just because of the corruption that it's not even the corruption was going on before the Europeans even showed up in a lot of those countries.
Right.
There's this trend of I studied South America for a semester, and there's a trend of government that they call caudilloism.
Right.
Which caudillo, that's basically means a strong man in Spanish. And that's basically how South America operates. It's about strong men. It's like, okay, we got such and such guys in the president office. He's going to sit there for 20 years. Either he'll be really great or he's going to be fucking awful.
Yeah. And
that's, our entire country's future for the next 2 decades is tied to however good that guy is.
Why don't they have more elections? They just can't?
Well, they can't. How do you have an election if it's all corrupted? If it's all rigged? And how do you uncorrupt something that's so corrupted to the core? That was corrupt from the beginning.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's like it's a kind of a problem that is unsolvable because it was broken from the beginning.
Right. Because it was designed to be flawed.
Well, it was all sort of half implemented. You read about the wars of independence down there.
Right.
They came about not so much because of popular sentiment for self-rule, but because Spain and Portugal, the main powers that basically decided the fate of this continent, got invaded by France, by Napoleon. So now these colonies, colonial overlord was non-existent.
Right.
So now what? Well, we're gonna do our own thing then, because we can't, we got no one to rely on.
Can't rely on Spain.
So you see guys like Simon Bolivar pop up. He fights many wars of independence for a whole bunch of countries. Eventually turns into Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia.
Right.
And there's all these reforms, these sort of Republican reforms, essentially based on like what the Americans did to 20 years prior, or whatever, based on much of the same values, and much the same values as the French Revolution. But it goes sideways because then Spain gets its independence back, wants its colonies back, so then they start fighting a war with them again.
Right.
But in order to sort of fight this war against Spain, you have all these generals that sort of take power. And unlike George Washington, most of these generals don't just step aside when their time is done.
Right.
So it creates this, it basically, if you were to compare the United States' early government to these guys, it's very, very similar up until George Washington leaving office.
Yeah.
He was in for like one or two presidencies or something like that. I think he won 2 elections, and then he was like, I'm out. He could have just kept going and going.
Right.
That's what happened in South America, in most of these republics. He's just like, I'm just going to keep getting voted in. People want me, so I'm going to stick around. And then it just creates this cult of like, we need the strongest guy in office. And
even the voting process probably is corrupt too.
Oh, yeah. 100%. So this guy who wants to maintain power will corrupt everything so that he maintains power. When he dies, he picks a successor pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's just going on like that for like 200 years. Every time there's like and it doesn't help, of course, that the CIA doesn't like, governments that might lean a little left.
Yeah.
A little farther left than they'd like. For instance, in Chile, there was a left-leaning government was elected under, what was that fellow's name? Well, I can't remember the name because it's in Spanish and I don't speak Spanish. But basically, Augusto Pinochet was put in power by the CIA.
Right.
And so that democratically elected government was killed right there. So it doesn't help that the United States is constantly fucking with them.
Right. Even when there's a chance of possibly getting a good leader.
Yeah.
He just gets whacked. And
he just gets whacked.
They
kicked
prop
out.
up some asshole.
Yeah, they did it in Guatemala in the 50s because Americans need cheap bananas.
Yeah.
And by God, if this guy starts charging more money for their bananas, well, how is Americans going to get the bananas? Monkey need banana, said Eisenhower. So
proudly.
That was I believe that was the Arbenz government in Guatemala.
Right.
Could be wrong. Yeah. So yeah, South America has issues, but a lot of mineral wealth down there.
A lot of land.
So maybe Guyana can pull a Norway and revolutionize its country.
Yeah.
It's quite possible.
Could be. I bet there's a shitload of oil down there.
Oh, yeah.
South America.
Tons. I mean, Venezuela has the largest or second largest proven reserves on the planet.
Oh, wow.
And that's just one country.
Yeah.
Guyana is pulling in $500 million every year. Tiny little country is pulling in $500 million every year. Like, who knows what's out there?
Speaking of oil, Alberta has the largest oil sands in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Just fascinating.
I was, where was I? I was at my girlfriend's parents, and we got talking about kind of the parts that made up asphalt, and then I found out that, I think I heard that somewhere, that Alberta had the largest oil sands, but
yeah.
It was kind of neat coming across it. I was like, oh, yes. Interesting.
Yeah.
Pour up there, go.
Got a last half cup of coffee there out of the barrel of coffee. Yeah, I mean, you think about all the roads that the world has, all the paved roads, that's all bitumen. It's all tar that they use. They pull it out of fucking up here or Well, I think California has some oil sands, or what's that? Them tar pits full of dead animals. What's that shit? Down in like San Diego.
Oh fuck, I don't know.
You didn't remember that? You never heard about that stuff?
No.
Oh, I forget what they call it, but yeah, there used to be these tar pits down there, and then there's like woolly mammoths and shit would just walk into it like retards and fucking get perfectly preserved in the fucking tar. So there's these tar pits that are just full of bones.
Right.
They're great for
interesting
paleontologists.
Yeah. For dirt nerds.
Those aren't dirt nerds. Those are bone nerds. Those are boners.
Bone nerds.
Balls. Yeah. I was also reading yesterday morning about this. So in Russia, there's this town called Pivek. It's way up in the Arctic Circle. It's an Arctic port town, and it has a population of like 4,000 people. And their town is plumbed in such a way that they all have a central water heating system.
Yep. Probably one big boiler.
One big boiler.
Yep.
You know what powers it? Nuclear reactor.
Serious?
Yeah. Yeah, they got a big nuclear... Well, it's actually it's a small modular nuclear reactor on a barge that sits out in the port.
Yeah.
It produces... well, instead of having like a cooling tower, like you see those big nuclear power plants and shit, they have the cooling towers. Yeah. Instead of having that, they just run the hot water, the steam, through the town. They use the town as like the cooling mechanism. Oh. So people use the hot water. But how it works, in the way that they have it set up, no actual water is contaminated in any way because there's a separate, there's like an exchanger. Yeah. So you have
heat exchanger.
You have an internal cooling system for that actually touches like the uranium and shit like that. And it gets all fucking contaminated and horrible. Yeah. But it never touches the town water. Right. There's like a heat exchanger that transfers the heat from that water over to the pipes that go into the town. Yeah. So there's no actual transfer of radiation. Yep. But reading this article, I couldn't help but just fucking laugh because these Russians, they're just like, people are like asking them, like, what do you think about this, nuclear powered hot water? Like, are you okay with that? Yeah. Really? Yeah, if God wills it,
Water's hot, huh?
Water's hot. I've been having showers every day now,
They encourage us to use up the hot water, so.
Yeah. If we don't use hot water, the whole fucking thing explodes. So I've been showering. I tell you what, showering, washing dishes, doing my laundry, cleaning the house, doing my part. Yeah. Cleaning, keeping the house clean, using as much hot water as possible. Because if I don't, that sucker is going meltdown.
Ivan, use some fucking hot water.
Yeah. Yeah, the fucking air raid siren goes off in the middle of the night, and
everybody bails out of bed and has a
Yosef, did you take a shower tonight? Shit, I forgot. Ivanka, I'm sorry. It goes over, has a shower, all the air raid sirens go off. When the pressure build goes back down. God. Fucking Yosef, you idiot.
Yeah, every house has one of those like cartoony gauges with danger, warning, green. In the green zone.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it's managed a little better than that, but.
Oh, you're saying Russia isn't a Bugs Bunny cartoon? I always thought it was.
Oh, well, it's about the closest a country can be. How they fucking talk like a record being played in reverse. Yeah. That's how they talk. Yeah.
Oh, I like nuclear power.
Me too. And so reading this article, it was also talking about how, so they're calling them modular nuclear reactors. Yeah. It's a kind of nuclear reactor you can fit on a ship or whatever. This is kind of the way of the future because there's so much application for one of these suckers. A big fuck off nuclear reactor, like the old, Chernobyl style, is great and all. It makes power and all that stuff, but they're incredibly expensive to maintain. They require a lot of manpower, and they are they're not nearly as efficient. But I guess a lot of headway has been made into these small modular nuclear reactors. Well, and if we can use these to power like northern towns, for instance, then like that solves so much problem of
I
like
think
bringing in
that's
fuel oil or whatever, coal.
Well, think of the fuel you have to burn just to get fuel up there to all these
Yeah, to
little
like
towns.
a
All
Callaway or
this,
some
all this
shit.
propane and all this natural gas and all the diesel and the gasoline and all that. Trying to get the fuel up there
Yeah.
takes a huge amount of fuel. So just to have your own power station just for your electricity is, I mean, you're gonna cut your fuel bill in half, and then you only need your diesel and gasoline for your vehicles.
Yeah, for whatever vehicles you have.
For your transportation. But as long as if you can knock the houses out of the way, just power those with your hot water and your electricity. I mean, that's a huge percent. That's 3/4 of the bill right there.
Yeah, absolutely. If they could do something like that, yeah, then like a Callaway or fucking some of those northern towns, that would be revolutionary, I think. That would actually make living in the north feasible.
Exactly.
That's the main draw. Like, they have to pay people to stay there. The government actually gives you a dividend for living in the Northern Territories because it's so expensive to live up there. Yeah, you get like, I don't know what the payment is, but it
they'd
works
have to
at least a couple $1,000s a year.
What is there to really do up there? I mean, like, if you're not in the,
I don't know.
if you're not in the,
Stare at the Northern Lights.
if you're not in the business of moving product, like moving stuff from the south, like here, let's say southern Alberta to the Northwest Territories, I mean, what else is there to do?
There's a lot of, I know there's mining in Northwest Territories, but
Probably
a lot of gold mining in Yukon still.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of...
because wasn't Kelly talking about, he's heading up to work on a gold mine there. He has to actually drive through Alaska a little bit.
Well, it's in British Columbia, but it's in that vague part of the world. Like, it's on that little peninsula there in northern BC.
Right. Yeah, that's where he's going.
But yeah, it's just south of the Yukon. But yeah, like, there's still a lot of gold mining up there and like a lot of diamonds.
Right.
Like, they found a lot of diamonds up there. Not to mention heavy metals and everything else, right? So there is a lot of mining operation, and there's natural gas up there as well, natural gas and oil. But of course, it's very hard to get to because everything's rock, and trees, and fucking ponds.
Ice and the
rock, trees, and ponds. Like, this is fucked. Got to take a helicopter everywhere.
Yeah, bottomless muskeg, and it's tough territory up there.
No doubt.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to work up there.
No.
I can barely handle the cold down here.
Yeah, it's fun. You know, it's like minus 60. Your fucking motor oil literally turns into a gel.
You just never shut anything off.
Yeah.
Just let her idle.
Yeah. They should have nuclear-powered cars up there.
Exactly.
You never have to warm them up. They're always warm.
We should be able just to plug your equipment directly into the nuclear station, keep that whole thing warm, circulate that engine oil, circulate that water, keep it all nice, toasty warm.
Could do that. But if you had a nuclear-powered hoe, just imagine you had a nuclear-powered hoe.
Yeah. Think of the power.
Think of the power. And then eventually when the radiation leaks and you grow a third arm, boom, you can control both sticks and still drink your coffee because you got 3 arms, man.
That would be awesome.
There's no downside to this.
Yep. If I had the choice of being, perfectly healthy, but with 2 extra arms, like coming directly off my shoulder, like just another, so I'd have 4 arms.
Oh, you'd be like that Indian god.
Exactly.
Or like Shiva or whatever.
I would do it. Be like, you will live a perfectly fine life, healthy life with 4 arms. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, well, if I had, like, you'd be like a insect. Exactly. Kind of be like an insect. Have another set of arms coming out of your, like, right here, like just under your pecs.
Yeah.
If you had another set, smaller set. So you got bigger arms than a set of small ones. So then you can, like, type on your small arms and then work out your big arms at the same time. Wouldn't that be sweet?
Exactly. I could clap twice as loud.
And twice as often, I guess.
That's right.
I don't know about as loud. You got to time it just right. You could.
Well, I'm controlling.
Aubrey, if you had 4 arms, your hand job business would increase 3-fold.
That's what I'm saying. I could double my business.
Double your business.
Yeah.
You could think of the possibilities. Think about the tens of dollars you could pull in.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. The possibilities are endless.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so this nuclear powered town in Russia, it's really interesting. The rest of the world is actually looking at this and going, "Wow, why are the Russians so far ahead?" They're really not that far ahead. The technology they're using is about the same as anywhere else. It's just they're not scared of actually putting nuclear shit and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
They're willing to try, but their idea of human life is a little different.
they don't. Their reverence for life is a lot less than ours.
Yeah, they're kind of in a fuck it state of mind.
Yeah,
they're like, fuck it.
That's kind of how
let's power
Russia
this
is.
whole ass town with nuclear.
Yeah,
see what happens.
Not just power it. We're gonna have fucking water heated by the nuclear reactor coming out of our shower heads. We're gonna be boiling soup on the stove. Water that came out of the nuclear reactor. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Good old. Oh, I think I'll visit Pivek, Russia one day.
That is off. You said it was in the Arctic Circle?
Yeah.
God damn, that's north.
Oh, in Russia, it's almost all there. Well, not quite, but it's actually interesting looking at just like a longitudinal map.
Motherfucking globe right there.
Oh yeah, sure enough. Just looking at a map, how much of Russia is actually farther north than here?
Right.
Like if you look at like is that longitudinally or latitude? It's latitude. Longitude is east west. Latitude is north south. So on a latitude line, Calgary sits at about the same latitude as London. I think it's like it's literally like a couple miles farther north.
Right.
It's about exactly the same latitude as London. Edmonton is about the same as like Glasgow.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look at say Yellowknife, that's about the same as like sort of the middle of Norway, or like, well, not quite Oslo, but a little further north than Oslo, which is the very south tip of Norway.
What Canadian city would line up with Moscow?
Probably,
grab that globe.
I would say probably Edmonton, but
that would be my guess too. Kind of that Lloyd. If it's Lloydminster, I'm gonna be pissed.
I got bad news for you.
What is it?
It's probably Lloydminster.
Oh, fuck's sake.
It's about right. Because it's, let's see here. What line is that? It won't tell you exactly because this isn't not a very fancy globe.
Not the most accurate map.
But Edmonton is like roughly halfway between the 45th and the 60th. It's roughly on the 50th parallel.
Right.
And let's see here. Moscow's a little further north yet.
Okay. A little further north than Edmonton.
Yeah. Like probably Lac La Biche. I guess, yeah. I would say Lac La Biche, Alberta is probably about the same line of latitude as Moscow.
Nice.
Which is really saying something.
And Moscow's fairly central to Russia, right?
Yeah, like it's fairly...
Like if you were to just look at that... Show me Russia here.
Yeah, it's pretty much in the center of the bitch.
All right, let's look at the globe.
Yeah, St. Petersburg is like way the fuck north.
Yeah, Jesus, like half of Russia is in the Arctic Circle.
Yeah. Well, not quite, but
I never really paid attention to that.
No, the Arctic. It should show you the Arctic Circle there.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah,
I'm looking.
There's a huge percentage of it is. Did you know half of Norway is in the Arctic Circle?
Oh wow!
Like look at Norway there. Like the entire half of the country lies in the Arctic Circle.
Oh yeah.
But the reason why people can actually live in Norway is because they get warm winds coming off the ocean.
No, I was looking at the 60th parallel, not the Arctic Circle.
Oh.
My bad.
Okay.
Still, but like a third of Russia is in the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
I guess most of Canada too. Well, not really, but you got,
all those fucking islands up there.
20% of, but it's all ice.
Yeah.
Interesting. Where the fuck? Okay, what was that? What was that town called?
I don't know if it'll show it on there because it's pretty small, but it's called Pivek. I can Google it on here and see if I can find it.
Yeah, do.
Pivek, Russia.
So is this an all year round port, or is it just?
No, I would assume it's
Just
only
summer?
summertime.
Yeah.
Arctic port town, something. Where's the maps?
Interesting.
In Chukotka Autonomous Okrug. What the fuck? Hold on, what part of Russia is this? Zoom out. If I could load. Oh, holy shit. Okay, so it's in Siberia. It's way over kind of by Alaska.
Oh, okay.
It's there's a bay up there.
Right.
Do you see that? See that island called Wrangel Island?
Yep. Right.
There's a bay, the tiny like a.
Yep.
Yeah,
there.
it's right in there. You bet.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Cool.
Yeah. You know, I was reading about that peninsula, that it's just south of that bay that you were pointing at.
Oh, sorry. Right here.
Yeah, if you go down,
Okay.
there's that peninsula there. They call that Kamchatka.
Yep.
And apparently it's one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
Ooh.
It's sort of a volcanic peninsula. There's like volcanoes dotting the whole thing, and they're all like perfectly conical.
Nice.
They're like, have you seen pictures of Mount Fuji in Japan?
Yeah.
You know how it's just perfectly like conical
Well, this peninsula is all in line kind of with
Japan and
so
all
is
that.
is there a fault line in there?
Yeah,
Must
that's part of that. It's part of that Ring of Fire, the Great Pacific Ring of
okay.
Fire. It's all part of it.
Because it's like a perfect. You can see all these little islands here. Those must all
Yeah,
be volcanoes.
The Kuril Islands. Those are all little volcanoes that dot there, and then it goes. You follow that fault line. It pretty much goes all the way through Japan, Taiwan, then through the Philippines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So is there a volcano on the Philippines as well?
Oh yeah, dude. In 1992, a volcano erupted in the Philippines called Mount Panatubo? I think it was called.
Okay.
And it actually exploded so big that the world temperature dropped by an entire degree.
Oh wow.
It threw up so much ash that the world temperature dropped for a year.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I'm still convinced man can't even.
Oh no.
Affect the world like the world can affect the world.
Oh
you know
no,
what I mean?
we're like, what did George Carlin say? We're just a bad case of fleas on the biggest dog in the universe. One day this fucking dog's just gonna shake us off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't take life too seriously.
Yeah.
Be kind to thy neighbor.
Be thy brother's keeper.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, there was what was it in 1815, I think it was. There was a volcano in Indonesia called Mount Tambora that exploded. And I think it was one of the largest volcanic eruptions in like recorded in the last like 100,000 years or something like that.
Yeah.
It's fucking huge. And it actually dropped world temperatures by like 2.5 degrees. It caused what they call the year without a summer in Europe.
Wow. Where it just kept snowing and was just shitty the whole summer.
Yeah,
or it just was so cold.
It was so cold that there was massive crop failures. There was like never really a summer in Europe. It was never quite hot. There was massive crop failures all around the planet. There was an estimated like, I don't know, only a fraction of sunlight was like getting through.
Yeah.
So plants were also just being starved of fucking sunlight.
Yeah.
It's just awful. I don't know how many people died just because of that, but
just from the famine.
Yeah, just from the famine. I think that's partially what caused some of the potato famines.
How long did those last?
Potato famines?
Yeah.
Wow, they would come in every like 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like they were planned or something. I wonder if the British had anything to do with that.
Interesting.
What do you think is the most significant event to occur in the history of the human race?
Oh, women's rights.
Really? I was going to say the pill. Welcome back to Chauvinism Radio. Thanks for listening, folks. If you hate women, this is the show for you. I hate women so much, it's unreal. This goes so hard. Love from Kazakhstan. One fan wrote in saying that.
I'm not really sure what's. Fuck, I don't know.
Actually, I would say the pill, honestly, because that's just a revolution in not only biotechnology,
but in culture too.
But exactly in the cultural effect of the pill has been immense.
Yeah,
because now, see, men are animals.
Yes.
We're fucking gross.
Yes.
And we pretty much fuck anything that has a warm hole.
Yes.
Prison will show you that.
Well, it's
But with the pill, it allows women to be the same way.
Right.
They don't, like, without birth control and other forms of contraceptive, women, it's not a great investment for them to do that same thing.
No, it was a huge risk.
You take risks
exactly,
because you could potentially like fuck yourself up for 9 months and then oh shit, now you got a kid and oh my god.
And you have to, if you're willing to have sex with that man has to be a provider for that child.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't do it on your own.
Exactly.
So it's a high risk. But for the man, it's just like
put pee-pee in the hole.
It's if that woman is willing to have sex with you, and you don't have to raise it, that's an absolute win for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to.
That's evolutionarily speaking. That's a fucking win.
That's an absolute win. That's a swish. It is.
It is
on an evolutionary look.
On a purely survival of the fitness level. That's what evolution prefers.
Yes, because
if you father 15 children and they don't know it's you, that's winning.
That's right. You have 15 offsprings, and you only had to raise 2 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a perfect evolutionary win. But for women, I mean, there's 13 moms there that had to raise that child on their own.
Exactly. It's
always been a risk for women.
Sex has always been balanced in men's favor.
Yeah.
Like it's always been a risk for women. But with the pill, this is a revolution in human sexuality as well as just human culture, because now women and men can just do whatever they want and not have the same risk factor.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still some risk factor, obviously, because AIDS and all that shit. But
and there's still a risk factor because men are animals.
Men are animals, and they're like, I don't think condoms don't feel good.
Rubber make me hurty.
I put one of them on one time, and I put it on a little too quick, and it snapped like a rubber glove and it hit me in the balls. I hate it. I never wear these. Yeah, so yeah, I would say probably the pill is one of the most significant events in history of the human race. I would also say probably when Bunga Obungus III, 15,000 years ago, figured out how to put feathers on an arrow or something like that.
Yeah, that's up there. I think it's hard to say what is the most, like, if there was a turning point in man's track to this day, I don't know if there is a real, like, one certain point where it absolutely changed. But I think just man's constant adaptation to using their equipment, their tools. I think it just one thing after another. Started with the rock on the stick and to the arrow.
I think the real evolution.
To the wheel.
Well, the wheel, all that stuff, technology-wise, you can point at that.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, one of the greatest moments in the history of the human race has to be the invention of writing.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, without writing, you don't even have history.
Yeah.
'Cause, how do you tell anything if you'd have nothing to go off of?
Yeah.
If you can't look at the stories of people of that time, well, there is no history. Mm-hmm. So I think the invention of writing.
Yeah, being able to put your thoughts down onto something that somebody else can then interpret.
Work off of. You write something down, you have someone completely unrelated to the situation grab the message, run over to the other side of town, give it to the guy. He goes, oh, okay, yeah, breakfast at 7. Perfect.
Yeah. You're no longer taking the other guy's word for it or trying to understand his interpretation of what the other guy said.
Yeah.
You can now just read that paper that you wrote. You wanted a message to go from you to me.
And
Perfect.
writing isn't just it wasn't just a revolution in like communication or even literature or anything like that. Like literature didn't get invented until like thousands of years after writing was first invented.
Yeah.
Writing was originally used as a way of keeping records. So the first writing system that is attested in the world is the cuneiform writing script,
Right.
which is those. I don't know if you've seen pictures of that, but they're like these little nails type shaped things in clay.
Right.
It's very very interesting to look at. It's a very fascinating looking writing system, and it was invented in Sumeria in, I believe, like 3000 BC or maybe even before that. Who knows?
Wow.
I think there was inklings of it in like 3500 BC. So it was originally used by the temple scribes to keep track of grain stores and cattle stores and how much taxes people owed.
Right.
And that sort of stuff.
Right.
It was used to like keep track of shit.
Right.
It wasn't until like a couple thousand years go by people started writing stories and stuff like that. But it's fun because you look at these records and these, they're basically just like, basically the equivalent of an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just accounting.
It's like, oh, we got so and so many bushels of wheat, so and so many bushels of barley, blah blah blah, and then
cows,
but then
hey,
halfway
this,
through
this
you'll
guy owes this.
halfway through one scribe will like write a dumb little message to his buddy who he knows is also a scribe.
Yeah.
So he's like, my bitch wife is bitching me out last night, blah 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 blah. 14 cow, 1500 chickens, blah blah blah. So they'll just be random little messages like that in the middle of these tabulations.
Guys are talking shit 6,000 years ago.
It's awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So then they would send it to each other, and they, I don't know exactly what the purpose of that was, but they're probably just bored as fuck.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's hilarious.
And it's so fun too, because there's thousands and thousands. I think the British Museum has 100,000 of these clay tablets that are still undeciphered yet, because there's just so many of these goddamn things. And
I didn't realize there's that many.
Oh yeah, there's tons. Well, that's the thing, is that because it's on clay,
Yeah.
and because it's in a region where it's fucking hot,
Yeah.
it just dries in the sun
Right.
and turns to kind of a almost brick.
Yeah.
And specifically, what's nice about cuneiform, because it's written in clay, in certain situations where these cities got fucking burned down by invading armies, we didn't lose their histories.
Right.
Because all of their libraries lit on fire. Well, it just baked the clay into bricks.
So you'd actually have to physically break every fucking clay brick.
Yeah.
No
one had time for that shit.
No.
So it basically, they just burned the library down on top of itself and fucking move on, right? So we find these cities with like thousands of perfectly intact clay writings that are all like kiln cured.
Interesting.
So yeah, there's tons and tons. And the British Museum has like 100,000 clay tablets that are still like undeciphered.
Oh, wow.
It's fascinating.
Probably all just different accounting.
Most of it is like, that. Like, how much barley did Mr. So-and-so from so-and-so farm bring in today? That kind of shit.
Yeah. With the occasional, it would be cool to have them all deciphered and then just write down, because obviously there's going to be little bits and pieces on those clay tablets where they're just talking shit. It'd be funny to decipher those and see what they say. And I like that. That's hilarious.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's great.
And these clay tablets, where were they?
Where were they originally?
Yeah.
In Mesopotamia. So modern day like Iraq.
Oh, okay.
Iraq, Syria, southern Turkey, and parts of Iran.
Oh yeah. Cool.
Yeah. But it was originally invented in the very, very south of Iraq. That's where it was invented by a people called the Sumerians, who no longer exist. Their language was completely unrelated to anything around it. The people who conquered them were called the Akkadians, who spoke a language that was part of the same family as, say Arabic or Hebrew or any of this stuff, right? Their language is very similar to that. Then they got conquered by Hashemites, whatever the fuck, by a guy named Hammurabi, who founded Babylon. And they also spoke like a Semitic language. So this language got it was a court language for a long time, for thousands and thousands of years. But eventually, by the time of the Romans, I believe it was pretty much dead. But it's very interesting reading about those Sumerians because they're very strange. They're very strange. They believed that the world was like created out of some part of, I think it was the dead body of one of their patron gods.
Right.
And so the world was fashioned out of the dead body of one of their gods. That the human race was actually created from the blood of a demon. That's why people can be so horrible.
Yeah.
They had all kinds of fun ideas. I believe they believed that there was an afterlife, but when you went there, it was nothing but cold and windy, and all you did was eat dust for eternity.
Oh, so medicine hat?
Yeah, except with a little less sunlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, when you died, you got sent to Medicine Hat. Bro, where the fuck am I? What is this hellish landscape? It's flat, it's cold, I'm eating dust.
There's a giant teepee. Yeah. Our pets' heads are falling off.
But hey, at least natural gas is like super cheap there.
That's right.
Yeah. Good old medicine toque.
I don't mind these morning podcasts. These morning podcasts, Gump.
Yes.
It tends to wake a guy up.
It does. Gets you raring to go for the day.
That's right. They kind of start off a little weak by the end of it.
Well, the coffee's got to take hold.
They're still pretty weak, but you know.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that's. I don't know. It's a good enough time to wrap it up, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
You gotta head to work here soon.
Yep. 8:00 sharp.
Oh, fun. You still got to get some oatmeal in your gut.
Yeah. Still got to eat my breakfast.
I had a half bagel.
So did I.
Yeah, you had my other half. I offered it to you.
Thou truly are thy brother's keeper.
That's right. Keep thy brother.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to the morning show.
Yeah. Appreciate it, folks.
The morning show with Alvin Gump.
We appreciate your patronage for listening to this bullshit. We really appreciate the fact people listen to this on a regular basis.
Yep.
And I hope you all have a great week. And keep your dicks fat.
Yeah, keep your stick on the ice.